So welcome to this video here on output 2 of the project. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through what's expected and give you some examples of good sample outputs. Now, so what's expected of us? Right. So a freehand graphical representation. So that's quite important to start with. Freehand graphical representation. So you can't use set squares. Okay. So there's no set squares, no rulers, no protractors, no drawn aids. Okay, it's freehand. That's a key to write out on. Other things, right? You've chosen one of the artifacts. So one of the artifacts from output 1, your compare design feature comparison. Choose one of them, and ideally it should be one that you could get your hands on. All right, and it should have at least 5 parts. Okay, and you should try and make it simple to sketch, not something that's extremely complicated. So we have to make a detailed graphical presentation of this artifact. So that, a detailed presentation, and this should include a rendered freehand presentation quality drawing in format. Now, that's I just want to check, is that the higher level one or brief? Yeah, that's the higher level one. So it should include a rendered freehand presentation quality drawn in 3D format. So 3D, so you show the length, width and height of the object. Okay, it's 3 dimensions. So for example, I keep forgetting to turn off that marker. Okay, you wouldn't sketch an object like that, that's 2D. You want to give it a 3D view. Look, 1, 2, 3 faces. You all know what that is. I'm not going to go any more into it. Now, rendered as well. So you reflect the color and texture of the object. Now here I'm just going to go through the marking scheme before I merge into sample outputs. So this was the marking scheme from last year. Now just bear in mind the marking scheme can change. Okay, it's nothing concrete. It's up to the state exams alone. This is just what was published under the Freedom of Information Act. Now, so key components. Okay, it's worth 20 marks, by the way. Proportion. Okay, form, volume. Use of tone line for effective rendering. Detailed communication of the main design features to include a 3D presentation quality drawn, layout and presentation. So they're the factors they're taken into account. Now what do we mean anyways by these, right? Well, the first one. Okay, so if I was to do a 3D sketch of the marker, okay, now the actual dimension size of this is 140. Yours doesn't have to be dimensioned because it's a sketch. But what is important is that this, blacklid is I'll figure it out now anyways, the ratio. So that marker, the blacklid, is 2/7 the overall length. Now what I mean by proportion is, if I done a sketch of that marker, see the sketch and the marker aren't the same length, but if my blacklid took up half the length of the drawn, that's not in proportion. This is where the blacklid should be, roughly about 2/7 the length of the whole thing. So it should, so there's 2, 4, 6, and then the 7th a little bit left over. So if it takes up the actual fraction, so if that's 1/4 of the length, it's 1/4 of the length of the sketch. Likewise, okay, here the thickness of the marker, right? So if I try to do that marker again, okay, and I had a really short body, for a really short length. And a really thick body, that's not in proportion. It doesn't have to be to the exact size of the marker. The scale, or we won't say the scale, the ratio of the parts has to be the same. So if that's 2/7 of the actual object, 2/7 of its length, it's 2/7 in the sketch. Or if it's 1/5, okay, it's of the length in real life, it's 1/5 of the length of the sketch. Now, next one here to look at, so form and volume. Okay, so if we look, sorry there. So if we look at, okay, volume and form, right. So if I was to sketch, this here, right, what I mean by form is that the sketch represents the actual shape of the solid. So I have my earpod chargers there. I'm not going to do a 3D sketch of a completely, okay, different solid. So I'm not going to sketch them as a rectangular prism. You'll have to put the fillets in on them. So what they mean by form and volume is that, okay, the solid is actually, what you sketch is actually matching what's seen in real life. Okay. Now, use of tone for effective rendering, detailed communication to include 3D presentation of main design features and to include 3D presentation. So, okay, you know, if you're just sketching an object on its own, that's not great. You want to take it apart. Look, sketch the lid, sketch the inside the lid. Take these apart then. Okay, even more, sketch it from a different angle. Sketch orthographic views from it. Okay, to get more information about it. If you don't know, or if the examiner doesn't know enough about the object by the time you've output 1 and output 2 done, then you haven't done them correctly and you're not ready to start your SolidWorks, because you don't know, or it's unlikely you don't know enough about them. Now, layout and presentation. So what I would mean by that is, okay, that you think the biggest drawing is the 3D, or the most important drawing, okay, is your, 3D drawing. That you don't do something taking up a small amount of space in the corner of your sheet. You want to think effectively, okay, where you're going to space things. And you're going to see, I'm going to show you that now with a couple of things that past students have made mistakes on. So I wouldn't be putting my 3D sketch down to the bottom corner and leaving it very small. I'd keep it big in, okay, possibly in the middle, not necessarily in the middle, but you know, a good size, so you can see all about the object. It's good to practice this out roughly first and foremost. Roughly just practice the drawing first. A couple of times, get better at it. Now, go to the start of some examples, some past examples, and with thanks to all the students from the past who supplied these. Okay, this is their work. Output, here's an example of an output 2 last year. Look, a 3D quality rendered drawing. I suppose it could add shadow, a bit more shadow underneath. I don't know what it got exactly. The student done very well, and I think it might be between 16 and 20 marks, possibly closest to 20 marks. Right, you can see they put in more than just 3D drawings, alright? So they put in more than just a main rendered 3D drawing of the object. So they put in the smaller bits there, okay, about how the mounting system on the dash cam worked, the USB features worked. Did some orthographic views, okay, and that's what I mean by spacing. That you put, a lot of students do the 3D drawing first and then think, where will they put in the orthographic views? Think about where you're going to put things. So it's no harm to roughly draw this out where you're going to position views. So This person might have been a bit tight for an end elevation, so would have been great if they could put it in, but no harm. And some notes on it describing what's happening. This is a really good one. So again, rendered, notes, 3D drawn. Okay, they've communicated other design features. Good one as well from 2019. Okay, the tree might have done a better angle. It's a bit hard to see the ear cup there, so they might have done a better angle. The headband tilted a bit more, or the whole headset tilted rather more. Okay, good example here. I feel like title could have been bigger, and they could have used this space a bit more, maybe heavier with that chalk there, just to make it look a bit better, or we won't say, or look bigger rather. Okay, or look more stand out, you know, pop out of the page more. It's good. They're good sketches. So they're good sketches. This one really good. Okay, you see, some of these are showing you don't necessarily have to use white paper. You can cut out sketches and stick them in. So you can, I think this one used a pen, right, they could have darkened along the outsides, but these are still done very well. These output trees, like a lot of these are coming from students that got H1s. They're all coming from students that got H1s. So these could have been heavier, maybe heavier with pen around the sides, but still very good. And this is what I meant earlier about spacing out. Like you want to make sure your plan view is underneath your elevation and your end view is right across from your elevation. That's something you need to show you've planned out. Like, you know, there mightn't be a lot of marks for it going. I don't know. I'm not a marker. It's something I would be, but we're DCG students. We know that the elevation is over the plan and the end elevation is directly across from the elevation. So we want to be getting that right. Okay, there's a good one there. Use pen. I do like that one. Another one that used white pen, could have been darker around the sides. This person done extremely well. They got 159 out of 160 marks, so they done extremely well. So you can see, you know, your 3D sketch rendered, it shows the effect of light on it. Okay, it's got other diagrams and annotations around detailing every physical design feature about the object. There's another one there. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, the sketching isn't like literally unbelievable in it, but it is good. They could have improved on rendering. I think, you know, a bit of a darker shadow. The pencil or pen choice is good. Okay, there's 2018 one. Good sketches there. Could have been a bit more notes here, what's going on as well, like, you know, the views, you know, lined up correctly. That could have helped. Okay, a section view of the mouse might have helped. Okay, this is from an ordinary level student, and they scored extremely well in the project and the exam. They got nearly 100%. So, you know, that's for ordinary level students there to show what you can do. That was 2018. So they're their rendered 3D sketch. Okay, I get the views in the correct positions, guys. You know, that plan, you know, we're DCG students. We know the plan has to be underneath the elevation, and a lot of this comes from students not thinking about, okay, how they're going to lay out their outputs. So do a practice one first. 2018, very good one. 2017, a good one there. Rendering could have been a bit better down there, right? Take out those white, spaces between your color strokes. You know, layer it up if you have to layer the renders up. So keep going over in different directions, crisscross it until you get that white out, or even blend different shades of colour. Okay. Very good again. That person got like out of 155 out of 160 marks. And that's that. So look, I hope this video will be a help to you.